Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our continuing series of There Were Giants in the Earth. This is part 3 in our series, and my name is Doc Marquis, Vice President of Productions here at Southwest Prophecy Ministries. Getting back to what we were talking about in the last couple of installations, we were talking about basically giants throughout the world and trying to figure out what is the connection between them, stone circles, crop circles, and other things. Well, this week we're going to be showing you the connection between these ancient giants and crop circles. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a different direction here this week so I can tie everything up at the end in our next installation, which will be part 4. But for now, let's get into the crop circle phenomenon, because it was around the mid-70s that a phenomenon known as crop circles began to manifest throughout the British Isles. Unusual circles made in crop fields, such as hay, barley, and wheat, began to mysteriously appear overnight in, as I said, in the British Isles. Now, at first, no one knew what to make of these circles. Over time, it was believed that they were nothing more than pranks. However, the mainstream belief was, or I should say, the mainstream belief became, aliens from outer space was trying to garner our attention. And very particular formations on the surface seemed to justify the belief that these were made from aliens. In 2001, by the Chiltern Radio Telescope in Hampshire, England, 2 crop formations had appeared overnight. One had the face of what some believed is an alien. The second one is believed to be that of an alien's DNA code. The double helix code or the DNA strand. Now, in these next photos, in Crabwood, England, there was supposed to have been major proof now of alien contact through these crop formations. Now, in the fields of Crabwood, England, a very eerie looking alien face appeared. And many folks believed this was definitive proof that not only are there aliens in outer space, but they are the ones that are solely responsible for crop formation. The circle next to the alien's face is of some interest. The message within the circle is supposed to be some sort of binary coded message. However, to this date, the so-called code has never been broken. Quite honestly, I see no evidence that this is supposed to be some sort of intergalactic message meant for us. If it were, how come, after all these years, no one's deciphered it? I mean, one could argue that the message is so sophisticated, because the aliens are supposed to have superior intelligence. The message is supposed to be so sophisticated for us to decipher at this point in history that we just can't do it. But at the same time, I can't help but think, with our modern day computer abilities, I would think that at least some part of it would have been translated by now. So it just doesn't add up to me. It really doesn't. But let's move on. Now, it is claimed that this next crop formation is further evidence of alien activity. Within the circle is a round object that is supposed to be the planet Earth. And next to it is supposed to be a cigar-shaped UFO as seen in this next photo. The question is, who made the crop circles? Now, back in 1978, 2 men came to the surface and claimed they were the ones responsible for making all these crop circles. They were Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley. Using a plank board and some rope, Doug and Dave claimed they made all the crop circles, and This revelation all but destroyed any interest in the crop circles. But, you see, Doug and Dave were lying. And let me explain why. You see, 95% of all crop circles in the world can be found only on the Salisbury Plains in England. And this is extremely important to note. Especially since the 70s, there has been reported a little bit more than 10,000 crop formations around the world. So, how could two people in their 60s back then, now that's 78, how could those two people create 95% of all the crop formations? That means, if you look at the 10,000 crop formations and break the math down, that means they created 9,500 crop formations by themselves? No, that's not even close to the truth. We did find out that the truth of the matter is, Doug and Dave were outrightly lying. You see, they were being paid by MI5, which is Britain's version of the FBI, to lie about the situation and claim they were responsible. By doing so, MI5 could investigate all of these crop circles without public interference or interest. It goes to prove, though, America's government is not the only one that's lying to its people. MI5 paid off Doug and Dave. They claimed they were the ones who did it. And it's just one lie after another. It makes you wonder, can anyone be trusted anymore? I don't know. But the next question that should be asked is, was it really aliens that made the crop formations? And in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, I doubt it. We can't even prove if life exists on other planets, let alone prove that aliens are responsible for all these crop formations. So then, who's making all the crop circles? Once again, we have to go back to the ancient megalithic stone circles for the answers. Now, in our last installment of Conspiracy Corner, I demonstrated the direct connection between giants and stone circles. Now, it has been my hypothesis that wherever you find stone circles, you'll find cultural stories and sometimes physical evidence to the existence of ancient giants within the regions of those stone circles. What we need to do now is look at another aspect of those stone circles, because you see, this aspect has never really been considered before. And this is what we're going to do now. We're going to look at these stone circles and crop circles in a whole new light. Now, as previously stated, 95% of all the crop circles appear on the Salisbury Plains in England. But the question is, why? Why that place of all areas on this planet? I mean, it's just that one area, the Salisbury Plains in England, where more than 9,500 crop formations have been made. You know, what is so unique about the Salisbury Plains, you know, that 95% of all the crop circles are being made? You know, right there. The answer, I feel, is quite obvious. It's a direct connection to the stone circles. Remember, in our last installment, we found out that in England, there's approximately 1,000 stone circles that had existed in that area of the world. And this is where we're going to turn our attention. We've got to look at the stone circles for the answers. Now, when we look at the crop circles and the stone circle connection, certain facts must be established right here and now before moving on. You've got to keep these facts I'm about to tell you in your head or written down or whoever, so that you can remember this as we go along, so you can see what the end result of all this is going to be. First, we know, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to get this in your heads, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we know that 95% of all crop formations are made throughout the Salisbury Plains. Secondly, we also know that there's approximately 1,000 ancient megalithic stone circles throughout the British Isles. Third, cultural stories known throughout the world. Cultural stories dictate, as we demonstrated last week, giants were responsible for building these stone circles. Last week we talked about how, according to some of the cultural stories found in England, it was a particular giant known as Doc Marquis that not only reigned and ruled, if you would, with tribes of giants in England, but we also found out that other giants had actually helped build Stonehenge. Now, fourth, not all crop circles are made equal. Oh yeah, that sounds strange, but it is true. And this is a major unknown fact about crop circles. We have seen many crop circles that supposedly prove that there's, aliens that created them. And there are also quite a number of crop circles that are very elaborate in their design and creation. Just look any of these, crop circles up on the net. Some of them are absolutely stunning. And I can't help but think to myself, it would take days with dozens of people working on some of these crop circles alone, yet these crop circles are all being made overnight under the cover of darkness where no one can see what's going on. But there's another set of crop circles which, in my opinion, is being purposely omitted. And this is a set of crop circles which is very seldom heard of or seen in the newspapers, magazines and such. And it will be in our next installment of Conspiracy Corner that will get into these unheard of crop circles. In conclusions, we have seen many, have seen how different crop formations were created in such a way as to lead us to believe that alien interventions were responsible for their creation. We also reveal that MI5 went out of their way to dissuade any interest in crop formations. But something else is going on with those crop formations. Something so foul, so dark, and so evil that it would appear to be darker than even the bottomless pit itself. But as I said, we will get into that next week, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, you folks take care, and God keep you now.